thing. So let's start with our first topic, which is Avatar's box office. So I'm not gonna do a full breakdown of the box office, which I was never very good at anyway, but I do want to talk about Avatar's re-release that happened this last weekend, because it did make quite a bit of money for a re-release. So, you know, recently they did have a couple re-releases, including Spider-Man No Way Home in theaters that did pretty well. I think it was over, it was like there was some special day, like Cinema Day or something, Cinema Appreciation Day. And I did read about that being a big influence on the numbers being so well. It's been a while since I've used this, so I'm kind of a little rusty on things. So yes, just looking at the box office for this last weekend, and this is, I'm assuming, it's probably the actuals by this time. Usually they come out like Monday afternoon, but you know, you have the actuals and not just the predictions. And we have Avatar number 3 with 10 million. And I believe Spider-Man, which made quite a bit of money over that last cinema weekend, I want to say it made over a little over 5 million. This was a couple weekends ago, and this is when Spider-Man came out, and you see it got to 5.4 million. The initial estimate of Spider-Man No Way Home's re-release was that it got something like 6 million, and it went down to 5 million, 5.4 million once we got the actuals. So comparing that to Avatar did 10.5 million, which I don't necessarily think is that surprising, because it has been a lot longer since Avatar has been in wide release than No Way Home. A lot of people have saw No Way Home pretty recently. You know, it wasn't it had its main release less than a year ago, and then on top of that we have a new Avatar movie coming out in December. So I think there's a lot of things going for it, and so I think a lot of people were kind of caught off guard on how well it did. People just kept complaining and saying that Avatar, nobody remembers Avatar, right? Nobody cares about Avatar. I think this shows that Avatar 2 is going to do a lot better than people expect. Is it going to do as well as the first? No, I really don't think it is. It's going to do. It could easily be over $1 billion, but at the same time, maybe it turns out really bad and people don't like it, and it makes less than $1 billion. I do think it's going to make a fair amount of money, just because of the amount of hype behind it, the amount of anticipation for like how many years have we been waiting for this sequel. Even if a lot of people haven't been waiting for it, it's like it's been something that's been coming a long time, and especially internationally, because Variety of Deadline was reporting that it made the re-release this last weekend made 30 million. It could be a big sign that The Way of Water is going to make a huge amount of money. I'm personally interested in seeing what they do with the sequel. I remain kind of skeptical on its success, especially not necessarily the fact that they're making a sequel, but the fact that they planned out, we're not just making Avatar 2, we're making Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's see how Avatar 2 does, because I could easily see if people don't really feel attached to these characters and this world, that Avatar 2 does okay, you know, it doesn't blow up the box office like the first Avatar. It still makes quite a bit of money, and then Avatar 3 comes along, and if it's not liked either, maybe it won't do so well at the box office. Maybe it makes a low amount of money. You know, it's too hard to say because that's really depending on how Avatar 2 does, but it could easily be a thing where you have a down, and that's actually more common with sequels. I think it's really only with like the recently the last 10 years and the rise of the superhero movies that we're seeing sequels that make more and more money. Usually sequels actually make less money. And then in general, even if their box office is more, you're still seeing movies that actually end up making less money for the studio because they cost more money. I mean, for example, Thor: Love and Thunder versus Thor: Ragnarok. I think the box office is still lower, but even if it made more money, it would still, Thor 4 would still make less money overall because it cost way more. Its budget was way more than Thor Ragnarok. So just closing out my thoughts on this, I think it's pretty interesting that Avatar, so many people are interested in seeing Avatar. You know, it was an okay movie. I don't have the same fascination with it, but I'm certainly interested in seeing what they do with the sequel. Thanks for watching, whether you're watching on the live channel or on the segmented videos on my main channel. If you can go ahead and, should I say, I won't say it.